Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 4 of our quest system series. In this episode we're going to pretty up our quest giver widget and give it some details, information, and allow us to actually close it as well. So let's get started on making our widget. So we've got our quest giver to display the name of the quest. So now let's make some actual UI for us to show it properly. So let's go ahead and create that in our quest system folder. I'm going to create a new folder here for UI. And then in here, we're going to create the widget blueprint for our quest widget. This will be the quest giver widget. So we're going to do quest giver widget and open it up. And we're going to design the look and feel of this widget. So this is going to be a small little window to appear, similar to what you get in some RPGs. So for that to work, we're going to have a canvas panel as our main panel here. And inside this panel, we're going to have a border. And this border is going to act as like the main frame for it. I'm going to put it over here on the right hand side. I'm just going to bring that down here. And we'll put that on the far right. Now we'll hold down Shift and Control at the same time. And what that'll do is it will set the alignment here as it should be matching this anchor. Also its positioning as well. And speaking of positioning here, we're going to change the position X here to be negative 100, just to taper that in a little bit. Okay, so get a feel for what kind of size you want this to look like and everything like that. So I'm quite happy with this, and I'm going to change the brush color here from white to black, so it's a little bit easier on the eyes. And now we're going to start putting in our various pieces of information. So if we go back to our quest log, quest details, and in here we've got quest name, we need to give in a description and also its stage details too. So stage details are here. We need to give it the description and objectives for this as well, and the rewards for this quest. If you want to display anything of this information, that is, of course. If you don't want to, you don't have to include it, but we're going to. Okay, so in here we're going to put in a vertical box. And put that inside our border, and in here we're going to put in the various tools. Now what I like to do is just plug in various things I need first of all. So this will be the title. We're going to have in here another bit of text here. This will be the description. Let's just name these actually quest title, and this will be quest description, just so I know what I've got and what I don't have. So this, I'm going to change the font here to 16 and make it regular bold like that. And so what I'm going to do is have the quest description here, but then also have the stage description also there too, with a little gap in between the two. So I'm going to just duplicate this, and I'm going to put in stage description, and in that then I'm going to have in its rewards. So in the stage here we have the objectives and rewards. So objectives are basically going to be a list. Now for this we're actually going to have a series of different container basically in here, but for now we don't need to worry about that. We're just going to put in a little text in here too. Actually, let's just duplicate this and call that one objectives. But this will be something different later on. This will be more like a container or panel displaying a list of other widgets, which could be our objectives. And then we've got our rewards section. Now the rewards here, I'm going to put in a nice little style. I'm going to put in a horizontal box and put that into my vertical box here. And this box is going to have several sections on it. So it's going to have the amount of XP you earn, the amount of gold you earn, and whatever items it wants to give you based on the item icons. We're just going to put in those in later. So for now, we're just going to put in some borders in here, just because, and we'll replace these later on. I'm just going to wrap these with a size box too, and set the size of this to be 100 by 100. Actually, let's make it a bit smaller. 60 by 60. There we go. And I'm just going to duplicate that size box a couple of times. Yeah. So that'd be like XP, gold, item. Okay. So that is our content we just need to lay this out properly now. So my quest description and stage description, these two are going to exist together, and they're going to be probably inside of a scroll box. So I need to wrap the quest description here with a scroll box. That's so. And I want to put the stage description also in the scroll box there too. Okay, like so. The objectives and the scroll box for our description are going to both fill up the entire window. We want the rewards here to be at the bottom. So I'm going to hit the scroll box and objectives at the same time using the control. Hit fill. And you can see now they're sharing the same amount of space each. Now I can give the objectives less space if I wanted to. I just click on the objectives and just change it from 1.0 to something like 0.5, and it will give me half the space that it would have. And that looks like it could do just fine. So we're going to put some more spacing in here. So we're going to put a bit of spacing around the whole entire thing. I'm going to go to my border, vertical box right in my border, and change the padding here to 10. So we get a nice border padding. The rewards here, I'm going to center a line and spread them out. We go to horizontal box, and the contents of the horizontal box, like so. Just do that. There we go. Yeah, and we're going to make that set that to center a line. Oh, sorry, the horizontal box here needs to be center a line. There we go. And these boxes here, we are going to add some padding to them. We're going to go padding, and we're going to add 10. There we go. Cool. Okay, so there is our quest window. Now we still need to put in the options to accept or decline the quest. So I'm going to put in 2 buttons here at the bottom that will say those options. So I'm going to click on this border I've got already aligned here to the right hand side of the screen. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to wrap with a vertical box. And I'm going to choose this border to fill it. Now on this vertical box here, we're also going to put in those 2 buttons, but they'll be next to each other. So we need a horizontal box to display that. Drag horizontal box in, that vertical box there. Okay, and yeah, there you go. So we've got border and horizontal box. And inside this horizontal box, we want 2 buttons. Button A. And I'll design one button first, and then I'll just duplicate it for the other button. So that's going to have some text inside of it. And change the font of that to be regular. And we'll change the size to 16. Change the button's background color black. And I'm going to give this a bit of padding on the horizontal box here as well. Top, say 10. So I've got a bit of separation there going on. The button here, I'm going to change also its style from rounded box just to border. Actually, no, box, sorry. And what else? In this text block here, we'll add some padding to this as well. We'll do another 10 there too. There we go. Okay, so that's the one button, and we're just going to duplicate that for the other button. There they are. And I want these guys to share the space. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of these buttons and change them to fill. But I still want to add padding to it. So I'm going to add in a spacer in between the 2. And this spacer, you can set its size here. So X and Y, I'm going to give it X space of 50. And there we go. We've got these text blocks here. I'm just going to set these to be center aligned. So they line up there. And then I can just name them and put in actual text. Because these guys aren't going to change. Their names are going to be the same. I'm going to do accept. We decline. And in fact, I think I want to do is make the decline one a little bit smaller than the accept one, because most of the time we want the players to be hitting the accept button. So I'm going to hit the button for decline, and then it's fill where it says 1.0. I'm going to change this to 0.5. There we go. Looks a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. But makes more sense because we want them to hit the accept button more so than the decline button. Okay, so all of these things that we see here, the quest title, descriptions, objectives, so on and so forth, these need to be editable. So the quest title here, we're going to go is variable, and we're going to put in txt underscore quest name. And I'm going to do this exactly the same for the other 2 things in here. So tick this variable, txt quest description. And this one, stage description, tick txt stage description. Objectives, again, I don't really have to do anything because we're going to be replacing this soon. And likewise for the rewards as well, we'll be replacing these two. At the moment, we just want to display the quest title and description on their own. Okay, we're going to save that like so. Okay, so there's our quest ready to go. So let's get it so now it can display the quest as we intend it to. So for that, we need to go into our graph. And here we should see our various text. We've got text, text, text. Oh, I forgot to rename the buttons. Let's just rename those quickly. So we've got the accept button. Change that to BTN accept. Line to BTN decline. There we go. So with these buttons, what we're going to do is on accept, we need to tell it to add it to the quest log. On decline, we need to tell it to remove. Decline can be easier one to set up. Let's just do that one first. So on clicked, this one is going to do remove from parent. Okay. And when it does do remove from parent, it's going to end up calling the destruct method. Or event rather, sorry. The event destruct. And on here, we're going to tell it to hide the mouse cursor and return the input mode back to game. So I'm going to get the player controller to achieve this. And we're going to do set input mode to game only. Also, set show mouse cursor on that get player controller to be set to false. Now, as we're doing some destruct on the construct, we want it to change that to be showing the mouse cursor and changing it to input mode. So we're going to do get player controller, set input mode to UI only, and we're going to set show mouse cursor. In widget to focus, we'll just set it to focus on the accept button by default. So if we were to hit the button straight away, we can just click accept. Okay, so that is the basics done here. We now need to make this show up with this information. So on the pre-construct is where this is going to happen. So we've got to change these various text fields based upon some information we can send across. The information we're going to send across can be the quest details and stage details. So let's go over and add in, actually let's go over to our quest giver and show what's happening there again. So as you can see, display quest is outputting this out row. Now the out row is the quest details, and inside there we also have access to the stages and the stage details. So what we will need to do is we're going to send over this quest details row. So I'm going to go back to my quest giver widget and add the variable for the quest details. Put that in f quest details. And you make that editable by ticking the little eyeball or ticking the box, and you also want to tick on expose on spawn. That way it'll appear when we do create widget. So with that now on there, we can on pre-construct drag out our quest details and we can break it open. Now, first of all, the quest description and log description are pretty simple setups. We can just do the quest name, break that out, and do set text. And that'll be plugging into the quest name. We've then got the quest description. Do set text. And put that in there. And in text for this will be the log description there. Now for the next bit is the stages. Now whenever you see this screen, it's going to be when you pick up a new quest. So therefore I can just get the first stage. So to get a copy of stage 0. And from there I can break this open, get those various details, including its description. And also the objectives and rewards, which we'll come to later on. So description, we're going to drag out here text stage description. And we'll do set text. Plug that in. And then plug that in. Okay. Compile and save that. Okay, we're done here. So then we're going to go back to our quest giver component. And where we're doing that print string from the last episode, we're now going to replace this with that widget being created. So I'm going to do create widget on the display quest function. And in here, you're going to choose the quest giver widget. And here you can see it's going to ask for the quest details. This is simply just your out row. So just drag out your out row, plug that in. You no longer need this break. You can get rid of that. And there we have it. And all we can do here on return value is just do add to viewport. And that should do it. So we're going to hit compile and save that. So let's go ahead and look at that in game. I'm going to go up to our character and interact with them. And you'll see that my first quest is now appearing. And it says we are creating a quest system that will, and stages allow you to design. Okay, so we're losing information here. And that's because we need to tick on the wrapping of the text. But before we do that, let's just check that decline works. And there we go, decline works just fine. So just need to make that wrap that text. So let's go into our UI, quest giver, designer. And we're going to go to the quest description and stage description. And in here, we're going to add in the auto wrap text over here. Tick that. And there we go. And that should automatically wrap the text based upon its size of its container. In which case, this border here. I'm also going to add a little space in here. So let's put a little spacer in there. And it's going to be roughly the same size as a line. So I'll tell you what, actually, rather than use a spacer, that way I can get an exact line. If I put in just a text in here and just leave it blank, like so, bring that, there we go, there, and just change that to 16 and get rid of this text here. That should give us a good spacing that matches a single line text as well. Okay, so let's now have a look at that in game. Again, ignoring the objectives and rewards. They aren't in there yet. But here we can see my first quest now appearing. We are creating a quest system that will demonstrate different objective types and include features such as saving and loading and moving quests from one level to the next and saving their individual progress. Stages allow you to design multi-layered quests with varying objectives and staggered rewards. Now, to further help the readability of this, we can add some lines in here to separate the different sections of the quest window. So I'm going to add a little line here to finish things off with the objectives there. So let's go into that. And so above this objective here, I'm going to drag in a little border. And put that in there. And I'll leave it as this white line, basically. File, save. And if I want to change the thickness of it, we can change the content padding over here to just 1 if you want. And that'll make it a bit thinner. A bit nicer to look at, I guess. So if we go up to there, you can see that line is now separating these two out. Actually, let's add a bit of padding further to that. By the way, this error you're going to keep seeing is because if you've got a widget open and we're doing that destruct where you get the player controller and set it back to input mode, the thing is, though, that destruct is being called even when we close the game. So if you want to stop that from happening, it can be quite annoying. All you do is go to the graph of this, and on the destruct, simply just make the get player controller go into an is valid node. Now, it doesn't matter when you're closing the game because obviously the game is closed, but it just helps while editing the game. Not going to have weird issues to worry about that. Okay, so as I was saying, just the final touches, we're going to add a bit of padding to this border here on the top. Add padding here on the slot. Add padding here on the top to 10, and on the bottom we'll do 10 as well. That should look a little bit nicer with those spaces in there. A little bit more spread out, you know. Perfect. And there we go. We've now got our widget displaying on the screen and showing the details correctly. But as you can see, we haven't yet done the accept button. So in the next episode, we're going to go through the process of adding this quest to our quest log and actually creating the quest log widget itself to display this quest in our log. So you can watch that next episode right now over on patreon.com/Ryan Laley. You can find all my videos early from just $1 a month. Thank you to all my patrons and YouTube members for their continued support. Make sure you're subscribed and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.